Welcome everybody to the X Factor podcast. Today, you already know what today is. It's Monday. You already know. We got some good stuff to talk about. I am hyped. You should be too. Oh, give me a minute. I am right now a little bit of a trying to set some stuff here. All right. Let's get ready to talk Forbidden Door talk. You already know. I know. It's going to be a banger. First off, for the shows, because I didn't review SmackDown, I didn't review Collision. SmackDown I thought was not good. I thought they had a average. It came out that Vince, he did a couple things for SmackDown. And, well, we know how he is during those type of SmackDowns, or when he changes, he screws a lot of things up. And someone reportedly said, did we get Vinced? Well, in hindsight, you just got Vinced by Vince McMahon. And there was a meeting today talking about it, so they are going to try to get Vince to, cut off a lot of the stuff that he is doing, changing the scripts and all that, because what Triple H had going before Vince tried taking over, he was doing everything right. The story buildings were all right. The characters, and the guys Triple H has been building up has been perfect. So I don't understand what the big deal for Vince needs to. It's okay if he's looking at long-term, bigger stuff, but keep him away from the week-to-week basis because he ain't good at it. He has lost his touch. His magic is no longer there, and that's pretty much what it is. Collision, I thought it was another banger show. I thought Collision, and I said this last week, I said this is like a turning point in AEW. I think this is after what I just seen last night, this is a turning point in AEW. Punk getting booed out in Toronto is something. I'm a Punk fan, so I'm going to cheer for him either way. And it was just amazing. But so for the weekly awards, because I'm going to take out the pay-per-view, I will not add the weekly awards because it's not fair for the shows. So match of the week, I'm going to put the 8-man tag, FTR, CM Punk, and Ricky Starks versus Bullet Club Gold, and the Guns, which now they're all in a group now. But that is my match of the week. Show of the week, I'm going Collision. 1 week in, Collision's already getting their first review by me. They're already getting their first weekly award by me. I feel like they are 2 weeks in, they've done good. I feel like the commentary team's great. I feel like nothing's getting rushed. I feel like we're getting a new brand of wrestling. And we're getting a new brand of pretty much everything. And that is something. It just feels new. And it's one of those things where it's like, you like new. And if you like new, you're getting new. And that's what Collision is. It's something new for the fans to enjoy. And that is something that I really, really enjoy right there. So, like I said, I think Collision, I thought it was a good show. I thought they, and stuff with the Brody King and Andrade, that match was amazing. I feel, Andrade could potentially be one of the best stars, in my opinion, in AEW now. One of the best baby faces, depending on what they're doing with Rush and all them. But that is what I got on that. So, you already know now who is Male Wrestler of the Week. Male Wrestler of the Week, you already know. It is the beloved CM Punk's winning again this week. No bias there. I am going based off how they have done. And if I had to put a WWE Superstar of the Week, boom, Seth Rollins would be in that too. So CM Punk, Seth Rollins, WWE Wrestler of the Week, and AEW Wrestler of the Week. Boom. That is what my thing is, because with Seth, he had a match, or Finn stomped his freaking body out, and still wrestled the next night versus Braun Breaker and still beat him. Punk, in my opinion, he is looking good, and he says he's only 95%, and in my opinion, he's still doing good for someone that's 95% healthy. So, female wrestler of the week, I'm giving it to Will Nightingale. Because I'm adding it to what she did on Collision Plus last night. I know I said I wasn't gonna do that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Will Nightingale, in my opinion, she is amazing. I'll get more in detail with it later because there's a lot I need to talk about for Forbidden Door and all that stuff. And if there's a WWE's women's of the week, I am probably gonna go probably Thea Hale. Not gonna lie, she's just been amazing. So, we're gonna get right into it here with the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. There's a lot to talk about. I had predictions. If you've seen my predictions, it was on my Twitter account. Let's see, I got 1, 2, 3. I was 11-2 in my picks, in my predictions. 11-2, so that's a pretty good. Including 0 Hour, I was 11-2. It was Danielson's match I got wrong, and the last 0 Hour match, United Empire versus Los Inarbles del Japan. I can't even pronounce their name. But 0 Hour, I thought it was good. And I'm not going to talk about the 2 tag matches. I'm going to talk about Stu Grayson and El Fantasma, in my opinion, had a really, really good match. I thought they... Stu Grayson, I didn't even know him, and because I don't watch much Ring of Honor, I didn't know he was with Dutch and all them. I gotta start getting myself in the Ring of Honor just by seeing what they did there. And El Fantasma, I have seen a little bit of his work, but not much. Like a lot of these guys, I haven't seen their work because I haven't watched a bunch of New Japan. Like I know, big names like Okada and Jay White when he was champion at Forbidden Door last year and all that. So I knew all of them, but I didn't know much of anyone. But Stu Grayson and El Fantasma, I thought they had a good match. I put it at 3. I had it rated a 3.75 out of 5, and it's not an exaggeration. That pre-show 0 Hour match was amazing. Everything, and the ending was just so smooth too. So, and then Billy Starks versus Athena. I gotta give props to Billy Starks. She is 18 years old, just graduated from high school, and she just had a really good... she showed out versus Jade Cargill and had a really good match against Athena. Now, when I heard that Billy Starks and Nick Wayne were, the next 2 big upcoming, indie wrestlers coming to AEW, I was like, okay, not really much, but then the more I see Billy Stark matches, the more I want to see Nick Wayne matches. That's why I've been slowly trying to get my way into looking at Nick Wayne matches. And he's going to have his first AEW match against Swerve Strickland in a couple of weeks. So that is going to be a fun match. I have a feeling it could be great. And I gotta give props to Athena. She did it. She has been an amazing AEW Ring of Honor Women's Champion. My bad, correction there. I feel like she has been way better. It's I remember some of you guys that watch all the time. I said some guys or some men and women are professional wrestlers, and some of them are part of that sports entertainment spectrum. She is a little bit of both, but when it comes to professional wrestling, she is as best as they come, in my opinion. She is so good with everything she does. Her character is amazing. Her ring work's amazing. I just feel like she's just overall just amazing. So, and Billy Starks, they have a major chance to make Nick Wayne and her into the next major big thing. When WWE brought Brock in, they were the next big thing. When they brought Batista in, when they brought Cena and Randy in, it was a new evolution, right there with them guys, and they build them all up like that. Nick Wayne and Billy Starks, it's just 2 people, but it could really show major stuff in wrestling, AEW, and all that kind of stuff. So, that is my personal take on it. And Billy Starkz and Athena, I had at a 3.5. But if I had to put it based off Billy Stark's performance, it'd be a 4. She's just absolutely amazing. So, and then the 2 tag matches, Chaos and El Desperado versus the Embassy, I got a 2.75. And then United Empire versus the team I cannot pronounce their name, I just put them at a 2.75. I didn't really think it was really much of a fun match. And as you know, if it's a 6 to 10 man tag, if it's not, it doesn't get me excited about it, it ain't gonna be good in my eyes. You know, because it's just so many people at once. It's not really my type of thing. So, we're gonna get right into it in the pay per view here, and the only match I got wrong in the 0 hour was the last match with the United Empire and Danielson. So, I got those the only 2 I got wrong. So, you'll probably know who I had for every other one. So, MJF versus Tanahashi opened up the show. I had one concern going into it, because Tanahashi, I didn't know how bad his knees were until I seen the Swerve Strickland match last night when his knee gave out. I said this could go either very well or very, very poor. This could go either, this is about to be an absolute dog fight in like a good way, or this is actually going to be like worse than Goldberg and Undertaker. And it wasn't bad. I thought it was a good match. Tanahashi looked like was limping a little bit, which, you know, I got to recover from a knee injury that happened legit just last night, I think. So, in that spectrum, it's really just how MJF was going to handle it. And I thought MJF, he can, and when a guy's hurt and when a guy is like injured, he could really carry someone through a match. And that's really what we've seen from him tonight. Is I thought he carried Tanahashi through a little bit of the match. He went through his speed. And that's what makes MJF such a good star. Regardless of what you think of his character, regardless of what you think how he really is, when it comes to having respect for the business, I think he probably has the biggest respect for the business out of a lot of guys. And he just, you know, he doesn't have to show it, but he shows it by the way his character is and the way he wrestles. If he's really like that, man, that's something. But if he's doing that just out of character work and he's actually a really nice guy, man, he is fooling every single person. And every time I think of MJF, the first person I think of is Ric Flair. It's just the way MJF, the way his attire is, the robe, the strut, like all that type of stuff. Those were like the main things that get me to think Ric Flair. But MJF is not Ric Flair. I don't think we're not gonna have another Ric Flair in this business. But MJF, he is that type of wrestler. If he was in the 80s, he would be the best star in every single promotion besides probably WWE, because how they were with Hogan and all them back then. But if it was any other promotion, he would have been he would have been bigger than Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, in my opinion. Just based off how he is as a guy, as a wrestler, character. Even if it's just him in real life, that's something. So, but Tanahashi and MJF, I gave it a 4-star match. I thought they had a really fun match. I didn't think much of anything was really that bad. And I got to give props to Kevin Kelly and, pretty much just Kevin Kelly. Because he, in my opinion, he is every single match. He had the backstory for every single guy from New Japan and all that. Like, trying to get these guys, like, the audience to know who these guys are. Like, for the Sonata match, for an example, he was mentioning how he added this finisher to his arsenal, and guys are adding these to their arsenal, and the youth movement going on in New Japan. He was telling everybody what was going on, and he was pretty much telling what's going on, and why are they fighting, and why this is happening, why this is not happening, all that stuff. And Excalibur, and I have always had a problem with Excalibur. Well, the last couple months I've actually had a problem. I have never had a problem until I realized it the last couple months. He talks so damn fast when it comes to Dynamite. And last night, I didn't think he did that bad. And I think I know why now he does what he does with the speed. Because first off, when he does the matches and promotes them for the next week, you got to get that done in, fast pace. And I don't think Shivani and Taz could do that. Like, they can get it, but they'll be a little, it'll be timed out. Like, Taz, I think, could do it. Shivani, I'm not 100% sure. JR could definitely not do it at this point of his career. JR, out of respect, he's just there for respect. He's just there out of respect at this point. And I love JR. And I love hearing his voice every week, so it's, in my eyes, it's not really much of a problem. But, with Shivani and Taz, it's just like, can they do what Excalibur did? And I feel like with how everyone goes in that commentary team, Excalibur, I feel like he has to think that he has to speed through everything. And that's not what makes a show great. A show, well, and people can clown me all they want. And, the fans are going to come at, some fans are going to come at me, but just the wrestling, what makes a great show is not just the wrestling, how the show is booked. Hang on a second here. So back to what I was saying. So it doesn't just like how the matches are and how everything's booked. That's one of the main things. But you also got to think, how is the commentary going? Like, how does the commentary feel for every match? And Excalibur, in my opinion, he's really fast. When you watch Collision, nothing's rushed. So that's what makes everything feel good. Like, when Excalibur was going over the Dynamite or Collision and all rant and like Forbidden Door and everything, I was trying to comprehend what the hell he was doing. Like fast beat. It's like, bro, calm down, dude. It's like, let us have the moment. It's like, you don't need to go fast pace on everything. And in my team, and the production team, when he stops talking, just put it to the next match. In my opinion, the AEW production team is terrible. AEW production team's terrible. And I don't have to explain myself why. If you know. But that's just. But I gotta give credits to Kevin Kelly for really showing something out there. He really did God's work by having that good. Telling everybody what is the history, what are these guys' moves, and all that. So, but we're going to get into the next match here. CM Punk versus Kojima in a Owen Hart Cup first round tournament match up. So, my first thought was how bad they were going to boo Punk. And while they booed him pretty loud. It was a little bit of mixed cheers, so it was, it was there. And then Kojima, got a big ovation. So the match I thought was good. I thought they probably had one of the most underrated matches of the night, in my opinion. CM Punk, he is still, at night, like I said, at 95% healthy. He is showing why he is one of the best right now, still. And I don't think he needs to prove anyone. I think the only thing he needs to prove is that he can be professional about things, which he can. And we've seen it before, but you all know, when you get tired of something, you're going to say something. But he said it at the wrong time, and we all know what happened. So, but we're past that now. We are now, right now, in the future. We are now in the now. of AEW. So my main thing with this match was how Kojima was going to be, because a lot of the guys that New Japan brought were a lot of older guys. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be an interesting type of fight feel here. And I thought he did good. I thought he showed a lot of, heart is the way to put it, because in my eyes it was just really just one of those underrated great matches. And CM Punk ended up with the win, but with the fans were still not like it. So and they did get a little bit of a cheer when Punk picked up Kojima and was like, here's your guy. He's being professional about it. So that's the only thing you really asked for, and we all knew what was going to happen. So like I said, I thought the match was good. So I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3.5. Because I thought, I could probably bump it up to a 3.75 because of his first singles match back. I thought it was good, but I'm just going to keep it at 3.5. So, overall, I thought it was a good match. So, the next match, Orange Cassidy versus Daniel Garcia versus Shibata versus Zack Sabre Jr. And, in my opinion, it was a very underwhelming match. I am, and you know how I feel with 6 to 10 man tags. I feel the same way with triple threat and 4 ways if they're not elimination rules. If they're not elimination rules, then I'm not really much of a they're kind of in the match. And usually I'll notice if it's good if I'm getting excited for it. For some reason, I thought this was a very underwhelming match. I thought this would have been a banger, knowing how we've all seen Orange Cassidy, Daniel Garcia, Zack Sabre, and Shibata. And I enjoy every single one of those guys' matches, but I feel like you put them all the 4 together, it just wouldn't have, it's just not the same as what you would have thought, you know what I mean? Orange Cassidy won, and it was like a 10-minute match, I think. I just thought it was very underwhelming. After the match, we got Shibata and Orange Cassidy looking at each other in the ring. I'm hoping we finally get that dream match that everyone has been wanting for a while now. So, but overall, I just didn't really think it was that much of a good match. Probably the worst match of the card coming up next year, or not worst, probably just the most boring, was Sonata and Jungle Boy. I had it. Oh, and then the Fatal 4-Way match, I had it at a 3-star match. So, I had it at a 3-star, so it was alright. So we're going to get into it with Sonata and Jungle Boy. Man, where do you want me to start? Man, I don't even know where to start. This match, in some eyes, is going to say it's good, but to me, it was just fucking boring. Boring as fuck. I don't know how this Sonata guy is even champion. Like, how? Like, in my opinion, he was just very boring. And I watch Jungle Boy matches, and I'm not even going to try to put blame on Jungle Boy. And you could sit there and say, he can't talk, he can't do this. But in the ring, he is one of the best in AEW right now. And there's nothing anyone could tell me otherwise. And having a match like that is like, bruh. So I'm not, because I have seen a bunch of Jungle Boy matches. I've been watching AEW for the past year, near 2 years at this point. I enjoyed a lot of Jungle Boy's matches. His promos, not so much. But his wrestling ability, you got to give it to him. He is there. And then, with the Sonata match, and Sonata, of course, won. Boring match, in my opinion. After the match, they had a thing with Hook and... Oh, and then the match, I seen it was 10 minutes. But the match acted, in my... Like, how it felt like it was like a 5-minute squash match. That's how it felt to me. But that's just how, I wasn't really looking at the time. That's the time, the feeling. So, after the match, Jungle Boy and Hook standing at the top of the arena, whatever, all that stuff. And Jungle Boy finally turns heel. And what a great time to do it. What a great... In my opinion, this is the greatest time they could have... This is the best timing they could have done this. Because with how much people are hating Jungle Boy about his promo styles, and he just got booed last Friday or last Saturday on Collision. I feel that now we're in a, this could be a movement for Jungle Boy, in my opinion. It really could be. I think we could potentially see the best out of Jungle Boy, and I've said multiple times that some guys can be baby faces and not heels, and some guys cannot be baby faces, but they could be heels. Jungle Boy, you can be a heel all you want, written all over himself. It's just how I feel about it. And especially with Taz and his reaction after, that is some good. That's good story building. You know what I mean? And I have been one of those guys that have been criticizing AEW for their story builds and all that stuff. But as of late, with Collision and all that, it's slowly starting to make a turn. And once, I feel like in the next coming months, we could potentially see the next best version for AEW. And that's really what I really feel that we could get that. So, like I said, Jungle Boy turn heel was just amazing timing and everything. So, let's see here. The Elite, Eddie Kingston and Hiromu Ishii versus the Combat Club, Takeshita and Shota Umino. I can't pronounce his last name. I am so sorry. But, Shota. I'm just going to call him Shota. So, that match, like I said, I am not a fan of these big type 10-man tags. But, like I said every week, if you can get me to get excited, it's a good match. It really is. And this was one of those really great matches. You got Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. Major, and when I come back to storytelling, the storytelling just for them two alone, that's intense. Because the history between these two. You know that that Moxley put Claudio in their Combat Club family. He chose to be with him. And Eddie Kingston, he knows that Eddie Kingston doesn't like him. It's the story building just like that. And in my opinion, when it comes to that, Eddie Kingston's very underrated. Because, you don't know if that's actually him or if he's just making this out of a good storyline. Moxley and Kingston, back to what I was saying. If they have something there, that they could potentially be one of the best storylines. Eddie Kingston and Moxley. When it comes to single men matches, just like one-on-ones, Eddie Kingston and Moxley have the potential to put something on that, and in my opinion, I think they should have 3 matches, one on a show, one on a pay-per-view, and one on another pay-per-view. And I feel like the final match should be a barbed wire death match, because what are those guys' most favorite, what are they known for? They're hardcore style matches. A barbed wire Japanese match, with Kingston's Japanese wrestling style. You could put anything up in there. You know what I mean? It is really just one of the underrated. It's like those little small things. It's those small things that can really get to you. And Hiromu Ishii and Takeshita, you want to talk about hard hitters? Them two are something. Takeshita, he is becoming one of the best right now. He's becoming one of the best heels with Don Callis. And in my opinion, they have something special right there. And Shota, don't really know why he was here. He was there, but I think Kevin Kelly said that Moxley was like training him, so that made more sense why he was there. And then you got the Elite, and we all know how the Elite is. We all know how everyone feels about the Elite. And I've always been one of those guys like, I can't like the Elite, but their their promos and stuff, they don't respect a lot of the business aspect of things. But when I watch them in the ring, I can't get nothing but excitement when I watch Hangman and the Young Bucks. Like, people can get on the Young Bucks for their super kick parties, but, and because, that's what they do. But when the super kick party happens, it's more of a comeback. Cena did the same comeback for 20 years. Undertaker did the same thing for 30 years. And the thing is, super kicks are so overpowered now, and that's really what the major problem is that it's so overpowered. Usos do it, they do it, Dolph does it. Like, I can name a lot of professional wrestlers that's what they do. The super kick is so overpowered. Or so overused, not overpowered, overused in that matter. Where it's like, do we really need to keep using it? Like, Shawn Michaels, when he used it for his finisher, and he was powerful. When it comes to your finisher, you're powerful. Like, it's like if Undertaker did the Tombstone and then Kane did it, Undertaker's was more powerful because that was his finisher. That's just how wrestling works. That's the science around wrestling right there. That's just the really regular knowledge at that. And then you got, I talked about everybody. I thought, but and then Claudio and Wheeler Yuta, I thought they both did good. I am really hoping that we get Kingston and Claudio once again down the future. I do think that Kingston, when the next time Kingston faces Claudio, he will win the world title, which is what you could put based off around Moxley and Kingston at some point. I thought this match was good. I thought it was amazing. And then I'll get to this here in a second. But there's a Sonata and Jungle Boy match. I put it at 2.5 for the heel turn. I put it at 2.75. So I just added a 25 right there. So, but for that 10-man tag, I thought it was really fun to watch. It was a really fun match. Kingston and them ended up with the win. Kingston looked mad after because having to face one of your boys in that matter. Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to deal with because that's what you have done. That's what you have to do. But I thought it was just everything about it was just cool and fun. Willow Nightingale and Toni Storm. That match, Toni Storm has changed. We just need to give acknowledgement to how much Toni Storm has changed and how good she has gotten in the last year, 2 years. Like, when you talk about women wrestling, in a lot of people's eyes, they're there for a couple of things. We all think we know what for, but then a couple of guys are actually there to watch the wrestling. And in my opinion, when it comes to WWE women's wrestling, it's half of those women in that locker room are not that good. I am just being honest. They can't put on bangers. Like, they're not in a, how do I put it? They don't time things right, is the way to put it. And when you can't time things right and it looks like just a really slow, boring match, it's not going to be fun. Because for a while, that's what Liv Morgan's matches were, in my opinion. Now she's with Raquel, so now it's a tag team duo, which is good. But, like I said, a lot of the women wrestlers are not that good that everyone makes it seem like. And Toni Storm, and when you get women wrestlers that have worked in Japan, that have worked in Stardom, for example, it doesn't matter how stupid Stardom can be sometimes, in the UK wrestling community and all that, that's women's wrestling. Like, when they come out to wrestle, they're having their match. It's, they're hard-hitting and they're going to get you good. It's good wrestling. When I watch WWE's women's wrestling, there's probably 10 women on the roster that I could probably say I actually enjoy their matches. Because a lot of them I just like, It's like, what do you want from me here? They're not that good. And then when I watch an AEW women's match, it's they're not good. But like, when you have a pay-per-view match worthy, like Willow Nightingale and Toni Storm, or Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm, they're good. In that aspect of things. So, but I gotta just give credit to Toni Storm for how much she's improved over the last year and a half now. Willow Nightingale, though, she is really in my opinion, she is definition of hard work. She has worked her way through everything. Like, she was, when AEW started and she was working her way up, not many people knew her. And she worked her way up to be a champion. And the only reason she won the title is because Mercedes got hurt. But let's be real now. Mercedes should have not won that championship. And I'm not saying it because she doesn't deserve it. She deserves it, but Willow Nightingale deserves it just a little more. Based off all the hard work she is putting in as of late. And in my opinion, Willow Nightingale, she could be a champion. She could be an AEW Women's Champion. She could be a Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She could be a WWE Women's Champion. She could be champion everywhere she wants to. Just because she's that damn good and she gets over with the crowd. She is better than 90% of the AEW Women's locker room. And probably 60% of the WWE Women's locker room. That's truly, I'm that confident that she's better than 60% of the women's locker room in WWE. She could be a bigger star than most of them as well. So, and when it comes to which division's booked better, in my opinion, when it comes to the main card, when it comes to the main status, WWE does it better. But when it comes to producing good matches and having good matches constantly, I think AEW slowly has that advantage because they actually put on good matches most of the time. And the example, Chris Statlander, every match she's had since she, has won that TBS title have been good. She is defending that thing like crazy right now, and she's just one of the best. So, nothing new to say. So, I rated Toni Storm Willow Nightingale 3.5. I thought the match was good. I thought they both are the best stars in AEW right now, especially with Willow with that title. I think that title's really helping her with her status right now. So, that's just that. I'm going to skip over Kenny and Will because I'm going to go to Darby, Sting, Natu versus Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara. And I got to feel bad for that match because it was good. It was all right. But the problem is, it got put in a situation where it was not going to compete with anything with the main events, the two main events that they had. Because in my opinion, it was a double main event. They were not going to compete with. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just to get the crowd to calm down, but you pretty much just and I hate when wrestling companies do this. Because when you do that, and then especially when you have a massive card like they had last night, when you had to just have like one of the best matches of all time with Will and Kenny, and then you have a match in between like that to rust the crowd, it's just not the same, you know what I mean? And, with the whole Sting match and all that, it was in a position where it could not get any, it was a position where the crowd had to, stop and pretty much have their break, but when you could have kept the crowd going for Okada and Danielson. Because if you noticed during Danielson and Okada's match, the crowd died. It really did. Overall, I thought the match was good, though. I gotta talk about Sting here because, and I'm saying this because the last couple of times Sting's been in the ring, it has not looked good. It hasn't looked bad, but it's not looked good either. He's alright at best at this moment. And at this point, you gotta think, Sting, like, how much can you really do left with you? And if Sting ever wants to retire, I think his final rivalry should be with Darby. As a heel or babyface, doesn't matter. Because you have situations for both. If Sting turned heel, it'd be, you're holding me back from getting championships. Even at his old age, still want a championship. Or Darby, I don't want to be a Sting bootleg or whatever. It could be for both sides. It fits both categories in that matter. So if Sting, if I was Tony Khan, I'd be thinking, what can we do with Sting? So, I'm gonna get into Okada and Danielson because Omega and Ospreay, that match was just that's the main event talk for today. Okada and Danielson. I thought the match was good. I thought it was pure technical professional wrestling at best. At its best. And that's a good thing. Because when you get two guys like Okada and Danielson in the ring, man, that really lights up a spark in the room with that too. The only thing is, I don't think it was good as Will and Kenny's, which they weren't going for that, but it was a really good match. I don't think the way the match is, I don't think it should have main evented, but I can understand why they main evented. Best wrestler in the world, that's a big fight feel right there. And Danielson, he faked, and I don't know what it was like during the middle of the match. I think he was like faking a seizure or something, like trying to bait him in there, because I thought he had a seizure in the middle of the ring. I was like, this man's fucking dead. I'm like, he is done for today. Like, he's having a seizure in the ring. He's done. And then just fucking takes us all out and does that. But there was a part in the match, the ending of the match, he had him in a submission shoulder hold kind of thing. And I was wondering why he wasn't using, why he was struggling with his arm. I'm like, I don't know if he's selling it or what. Coming to find out that good old Bryan Danielson is actually hurt for the next 6 to 8 weeks, and an injury like that lasts about 3 to 6 months. Danielson will probably come back shorter than that. I'm not gonna lie to you. They think it's a forearm fracture, so I'm hoping the best for him. So, and then Okada, I think they need to have a rematch at some point. Don't matter where, if it's at Tokyo Dome or whatever, but they need to have a rematch. So, really great match. And then we get to our main event. After Bryan Danielson and MJF at Revolution, I'm like, there's no match that can get ever better than this. I think I just met my match. Kenny and Will. If this was a WWE storyline or an AEW just straight on storyline, people would be calling this the best storyline in the business. Because every match they've had, it has been amazing. And thank Kevin Kelly for the history on this. I gotta thank Kevin Kelly for the history lesson for their history. This match is better than their Wrestle Kingdom match. This is better than one than they had at the Tokyo Dome, and I'm being honest. Kenny and Will killed each other. And all I gotta say to that is, if this is an end of if this was a passing of the torch to Kenny to Will, if you've watched every match, you've followed this rivalry, you just gotta sit there and say, thank you for what you've done. Because this, out of AEW and WWE, this is probably the best storyline in a while. Kenny and Will Ospreay. Every match they've had has been good. They hate each other. Boom, you put them in the ring, they're fucking fantastic. And I gotta put something on Kenny here, because if you are a professional wrestling fan and you like AEW, or you watch AEW, or you clown AEW, and you say you don't like Kenny Omega because of his wrestling ability, you're fucking lying to yourself. I am sorry. If you say you don't like Kenny Omega's wrestling ability, you're a dumbass. If you say you don't like Kenny Omega's wrestling ability, but yet you like Will Ospreay's, you're a delusional, biased idiot. I'm sorry. It's because if you think about it, Kenny and Will wrestle like each other. That's why they're so good when they're together in the ring. and there was a spot where like they do like a couple of shoulders to each other, and then they Kenny does a little bit of a flip thing, then Will Ospreay picks him up for a powerbomb. That's the same spot they had in the Wrestle Kingdom match. And I love every time they do it because it's so clean, and it's like they're fucking rag dolls just flying around. That's really what I see when I look at that. But when you, in the same aspect of it, Kenny and Will are going to be well in a professional wrestling Hall of Fame, doesn't matter where. And if this is the ending for a Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay rivalry, let's just say they had one hell of a run. Like Shannon Sharp said, I gave you everything I had, and they both gave everything they had in that match. And I said they were gonna have a 45 minute match, and they had about 39 minutes. It was like 15 seconds under the 40 minute mark. So, and who knows, with the Tom Lawler match getting canceled, we probably would have never had that. So, who knows? But that match was one of the best. And that's why I'm not putting it that's why I'm not putting the pay-per-views with the weekly shows as the weekly awards, because pay-per-views like that just really get you. And I feel this is like a turning point for AEW. I really feel we are feeling in this turning point. Where AEW can hit its peak, and I've been saying, when's AEW gonna hit its peak? And I could feel it. I felt it last night with Forbidden Door. I felt where you can hit its peak. And possibly in the next upcoming weeks before All In, we might begin the start of the peak for AEW. But the fact is, when you hit that peak, it's like, what do we do after that? Like, you got to top what they did in 2021, at the ending of 2021, and the start of 2022. They need to top all that before the injuries and before the Kenny or the brawl, whatever you want to fucking call it. Like, before all that happened, that was like the best AEW's gotten. Now you gotta go, how do we do better? How you do better? You make the best storylines, you make the best professional wrestling matches around, and the best storylines. And make the stuff make sense, because if it's not gonna make sense, nobody's gonna watch. I'm just saying. So, that's all I got for you guys today. I really just enjoyed this episode, if I'm being honest. This episode was just amazing, in my opinion, and the whole pay-per-view was amazing. So, y'all stay blessed and have a good day.